Okay, time to move on to the pants. So let's select the body, go into sculpting mode, and we will mask the pants area on the body. We will use a lasso mask, and let's just click drag mask. And we have a pants area. Let's use the mask in mask extract. We don't need the solidify. Again, you probably should decimate the object in the modifiers, decimate, to make everything a bit faster, or if it's very heavy operation, you definitely need to decimate it, because if it has too many polys, it probably will crash your Blender. Okay, so when we have the object, we'll have to go into the edit mode. So again, the decimation would help that, because the edit mode will be probably very laggy if you have a lot of vertices. So let's go into edit mode, deselect everything with Alt A, and now we will select by the trait, non-manifold, and just press F to fill in. Now we can go back into object mode and actually into sculpting mode. Don't forget to keep saving your file. I'll use another mesh fill with the inflate, and we will just inflate it a little bit, not need to go overboard. And it's probably time to use a remesher. So let's test it out how much we need. Don't be too drastic with the changes, because it's very heavy operation. 28,000, I think that's going to be enough for now. I'll start by smoothing, but of course smooth doesn't work with any type of brush. We'll need to go yellow, blue, or red brushes. So I'll just use a simple gray strips and start smoothing the object. At this point, I'll use inflate brush to inflate the bottom of our pants. At some point, if you see that the inflate brush or move or grab brush makes really big faces, don't be afraid to use remesher, especially if you're going with a low vertex. You can constantly keep remeshing. Alright, I'll add a bit more with the clay strip near to the knee, because I want to make the distances similar. Let's move it out, and let's add mesh in here so it's more equal in the height. And I see a lot of people leaving a round gap in between the pants, and pants usually doesn't have that. They are usually having a triangle shape. Let's just add a bit more mesh. So making pants for the first time can be definitely difficult to make it look good. A lot of time it will look like leggings or weird looking type of pants. Okay, I'll probably change the color. So let's do that. It will just help to know where is the pants and where's the body. You can choose any color you want, any color you like, it doesn't matter. Let's go back into the sculpting mode and let's try thinking about the shape of the pants. So again, as the jacket, the pants would probably drop to the shape to the leg, and another part of the pants would try to follow the gravity. Don't be too strict about the shapes. We will still have to use remeshing. Remeshing, we will have to we will anyways need to remesh when we're done with the pants sculpt. So don't worry too much, because we'll still be able to change a bit of the shape after. Now just make as long as you want. We need to dissolve this shape where we can see a big difference between our body and legs. Everything has to be looking similar in the plane size. And if you're having a hard time making a triangle, don't be afraid to be adding mesh in here. And it will naturally go up into the spiky motion. Now, sometimes on the pants you can actually see that difference, but it comes from the middle part of the pants and not from the crotch area. So if you want, you can add more in here and even use like a creasing brush. Of course, it look like a very thick leggings, but that comes from many other things which we'll fix by remeshing by hand. Now, I like to go and use a scrape brush on the pants just to make the shapes more flattened and not curvy, because when the fabric is following the gravity, it kinda becomes a bit more statical, more flat. I'll make same to the bum. Don't worry too much if you see a bit of the shorts. In my case, I actually made them bigger, so if I hide, you see, you can still not see his bum, even if I pushed the shorts a bit closer to the body. Okay, so now again I will use pretty big radius brush, fix these areas on the pants. And you don't really need to work too much on it for now, because we will remesh it, as I said. Okay, it's a bit messing up for me, so I'll check how close are these shorts to the body. And as you can see, there is quite a gap in between. So that definitely matters, because especially these boxer shorts would be very close to the body, and you have to take care of that. And when you have a basic placed, then it's going to be easier to position other objects. Okay, I think we're having a pretty decent base of the pants. Now we can start by remeshing it. So let's create a cube again, edit mode, delete. In the modifiers, add a mirror modifier, use a snap tool with the face options, and have the vertice selection on. Control hold right mouse click, we get one vertice. And again, for all the objects we created before this, let's not forget clipping. And as I said, for all objects before we made, we are going to be using as low polys as possible. So it's a bit different for making pants as a jacket. We'll start with the longest part leggings because we can easily add a circle shape. Again, 8 vertices, and when you're adding circle, don't forget... Oh, okay, sorry, I went out of the edit mode. So when you're adding a circle, don't forget to turn off clipping because you will have it. The middle will stick, but if you turn it off, the middle won't stick. And now we can place the circle in the legging area. I always try to follow the tilting of the body with the vertices. So if I see the knees going this way, I will rotate my mesh to the knee. It's helping for animation, but for modeling itself it's not that important. So I'll just fill in all the places. And we have a very rough shape of the legs now. And at this point we can add vertices. I think this one will be enough with 3 and this one maybe 4 or 5. We can do lower, doesn't matter. And we'll need to do a bit of adjustment. Now don't be afraid to leave some room open because we'll use shrink wrap, but having the mesh in the middle will definitely help a shrink wrap make the distances between the vertices better than just leaving them in the random places. Okay, so at this point, when you have your low poly selected, you can use shade smooth, and let's use a shrink wrap modifier. Let's shrink wrap it to the pants and apply it. Now, let's move on with the body. What you can do to make yourself life a bit easier, hide few parts of the body. We can even hide everything, but those hands were very much on the way for me. So I'll just hide those. And trying to keep my faces even size, I will extrude one vertex. Don't worry about the connections in between the crotch now with the vertices. We will do everything. Okay. So we're having a base now. We can position these vertices we created the way we want. We can even merge this. And this can even be a full face actually. This way we can keep it extremely low poly, and let's turn on clipping at this point so we can clip and make it easier to follow the middle. Now this actually will create even better triangle than what we sculpted, so I think it works out perfectly fine. Again, don't be afraid to play a bit with the topology, something you might not like, something you might love. But hiding the object definitely helps to see your shapes a bit better, but I will do it just when I'm almost finished with the retopo. Okay, trying to make the faces equal size again. And let's hide the body for now. And of course, let's hide our pants. I think we have a pretty nice base, and even if this looks like a bad topology, I think this will work out perfectly fine. Let's see if it looks weird in a subdivision. And it looks rather normally without any problems. Can we even go a bit more and the problem still doesn't appear in the shading? Okay. Let's unhide our sculpted mesh. And we are almost done. I was definitely going to be peeking and the body will be visible through the pants. But again, we'll use a bit of sculpting mode to fix that problem. Let's try to at least make the faces somewhat similar of the size. Let's save the project and hide what we don't need for now. Okay, let's subdivide it once and see what's happening. I think it's looking pretty good. We can use this as a base, so let's name it pants and move it into the bases. Let's unhide it for just a moment and let's duplicate one in the tutorial part. So let's turn back the tutorial, and what I will do, I think it's a bit too little of the mesh to play with. So I will apply the mirror modifier. Don't forget that we have a base pants if something goes wrong with them, with these ones. Okay, so subdividing it once, applying, and it's still going to be pretty low poly. At this point, I'll just use a shrink wrap to the sculpted pants and apply. Now when I hide it, we have a pretty nice base. We can work on the distances to make it more equal. And we have a decent base. We could actually even use a simulation. So yeah, when you're using a shrink wrap, sometimes this thing's going to happen. So we can do a manual fix in the middle. You can use not mirror applied option to try shrink wrapping, then it wouldn't happen like this. So I fixed one side, but another is still messed up. So what you can actually do, and you went up this far and made so many mistakes as I did, you can delete a part of it. And in here you will see that it's not really equally placed. So what I will do is just press S to scale and X on X axis and press 0 to make the distance between them 0. And just use a mirror modifier with the clipping now. I will move and see that everything is connected. So when everything is connected, I can apply. And we have a decently looking pants now. We can use one of the newer materials we made for the pants. You can actually use even the material we made for jacket if you watched the tutorial before. And we can add a crease. Now, creases on the pants can go in two sides. One is outer side and one the inner side. That's how pants are usually connected. Same goes for the middle. So that's how it would be connected. What we can do is now add one more loop. Don't forget to turn off the snapping tool and get this rather close to each other. This way we can have a crisp seam in the middle. Now you can have one not extruded, or just have a small extrusion here. Select the faces going down and just deselect this face. Now when I extrude to in, you will see this sharp seam, but it looks rather smooth. So what we can do is crease the sides. I don't really want to add, but you can add more loops closer to, and it will look much more crispier. Now again, we are lazy to do the same thing to another side, so we can just delete a half of the model and again use the mirror. This time we won't really need to move the middle because we already did last time. Okay, so we have a nice looking seam. Can do the same to the bottom part. Again, this does add a lot of vertices, so probably using this in the end is not okay. You probably should use this in the baking section if you're going to be baking maps. I'll just make it a bit more straighter so the seam looks like more like a seam. Try to select the loop running up top. Now it might be a bit tricky. And when we're done, we can just extrude. Now, moving this might not work because if we move it to the side, the top will still stay flat. So what you can do is actually use Alt S to inflate or deflate. But we'll need to extrude, and when everything is selected, Alt S, and we will deflate a bit. And we have again this bubbly looking shading. So we can add 2 loops or crease everything in between. Now, if you want to add some bit of the style to your pants, we can extrude the bottom and put it like this. Again, don't forget to add one more loop, slide it to the bottom and scale it. This way we're creating a thickness to the pants and it actually looks a bit better. We can add additional loop here just to add more shape to it. And think about how close we want this to be to the body. I mean, to the pants itself. Definitely not clipping through. So if I can say I cannot fix the clipping, I'll scale just a little bit more. And we have a basis done. Let's undo our body and see the mistakes we can be fixing. So this definitely will need some of the moving. Now, if you're using a mirror modifier, probably this side won't be working because this doesn't actually have any vertices. So the side which you mirrored will be the only one working. While hovering, the object will change which object we're sculpting. And just fill in the place where we need it to be filled in. Again, the side doesn't work, which is very annoying, so you might want to apply the mirror modifier. And we're almost done with the modeling. Yeah, we have a decently nice base of the pants. If you feel like something is not right, like I feel like the crotch is too down, you can definitely drag everything up a bit and just keep tweaking. Don't be afraid of the changes. Change is what makes a model much better. And just a little bit more peeking in here. And everything seems to be working. So yeah,